Welcome back, everyone, to another Wednesday, Tuesday recap of everything that's been announced this week. Once again, we have Jason in the background.
Yeah, I'm becoming like a Jonan, like the
regular on the show.
Of Chris' house.
yeah.
I just wake up here, maybe I respawn from here.
Yeah, the respawn point.
Yeah, I just set a respawn beacon in your house without you knowing it.
You just hear all the time now.
Yeah.
This week, we have not actually as much to talk about. It's the week of Daivangasai, which means that they're announcing. They usually do announce some things in Daivangasai. I think like 2 years ago they announced set 6. Last year, I'm not sure if they announced anything too crazy. So I guess we'll see if they choose to announce anything this year or not. But it's still a very big event, and they're doing the pre-sale for Festival Booster. That's why all the reveals are already done for Festival Booster, because even though the release is in 2 weeks, the actual pre-sale is tomorrow when we're recording this. Everything is going to be out, and so the last few cards that they kept for this is the Regalis Piece. We thought there would be 2 Regalis Pieces, but there's only 1. The other ORRR is the Elementary Sanctitude, but for grade 4 decks, essentially, to be anti-stride decks, which is a pretty interesting direction. And then we got 2 new OverTriggers, which I think will be the main kind of bulk of the discussion for this video. So I think next week will be pretty packed because we have all of the Dayusha stuff, as well as the new Dragon Empire Radline as well.
Right.
So I'm curious what those will do, because right now it's like just seeing all the new stuff, people aren't very excited about the next set. It's like just Dayusha, and they're revealing Dayusha so early.
Yeah, right.
And probably they're gonna like leave Archite for last, maybe like her new form.
Yeah.
But Eva's new form on release was not that expensive either, and like if anything, or it was expensive on pre-sale. But then when she came out, everyone was like,
Yeah, especially like then we got the Kombarasha hit at that time. So when you see the new effect, it's like it does 1 CB less doesn't really do it. Like you lose the ability to check top, and it's like, do we actually want it? And then it just becomes like kind of mad at that time.
Exactly. So the one thing that did happen over this weekend, though, I went to Evo Japan, and I guess this is also pretty topical because they announced that Daikaiser is coming back to standard at some point, so I can show off my Daikaiser stick or my leverless. But Evo Japan was really, really fun. You can check my Twitter or my Instagram for... I guess my Instagram is mostly on stories, so follow the Insta if you're an Insta person. But that was a very fun time and very, very good vibes. So I was saying on my stream title that like out of the 8 days of Golden Week, I'm going to be on an artificial island for 6 of them. Because I went to Evo Japan for 3 days. And now we have like Daivangasai is only 2 days, but there's the one day before is the pre-sale for Festival Booster.
Yeah.
So literally, it's just Tuesday and Wednesday were the only days that I didn't go to Odaiba.
Book Airbnb for there for a week, so we don't have to go back and forth.
Honestly, if I didn't like my apartment so much, I would.
Yeah, that could be a choice actually.
Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about the new cards. First things first, I guess the Elementary Sanctitude. It's like the least things to talk about. They basically printed a Elementary Sanctitude with the exact same name. It's the exact same card, and it applies the same effects. So it's still an anti-guard restrict kind of card that you can play. But the ruling for this one is a bit different. So this one you can put into decks that do not run a crest that isn't your energy generator. So as long as you have, if you have this, it's fine. But if you run like a stride deck set, or if you run like Monster Strike, that's not a crest actually, that doesn't matter. It was not Monster Strike, it's like Token Rambu. Token Rambu, for example, or what was it, Gotobun no Hanayome as well. Those are also crest decks.
Yeah, right.
So as long as you don't play any other crest but the energy generator, you can put into your deck. If when you would play it, normally you have to discard 1 because it's a perfect guard. But if your opponent has a crest other than energy generator in their crest area, it becomes free. So if you're playing in stride deck sets in particular, it's kind of like anti-stride deck set kind of PG, I guess. Like when they first made Elementary Sanctitude, grade 4s were all the rage. And if you don't know what Elementary Sanctitude does, it's a perfect guard. So it's a Sentinel. It goes towards your 4 Sentinel count. But the thing is that it is a Blitz order, which means that when your opponent uses an effect that says you cannot guard with Sentinels from hand, you can still use it because the Blitz order doesn't go to Guardian Circle, it just gets played and discarded immediately. So I guess it's cool grade 4 decks can play this because the original Elementary Sanctitude was anti-grade 4s, so grade 4 decks automatically could not play them. And it was kind of like, I kind of liked it. I was like, oh, cool, I don't need Sanctitude for these grade 4 decks. I can just put it in 4 PGs.
Right.
But now it's like, well, damn, I guess I will need some of these. But at least this one's in a pack and it's not just like a because the original Elementary Sanctitude was like only distributed as a trial deck purchase bonus promo for the Youthberg Leonore and Yugioh trial deck. So it's like it was the worst distribution method. Like I bought a lot of those and I honestly hate it. Like it was not a great feeling at all. So honestly, this one should be easier to get and less decks need them. I think you still play the original Sanctitude for the most part. Just because like the original one is still good against Stride decks because Stride decks have triple drive.
It's still no cost to play them.
By default, they're good. The only thing is that against like Chrono Jet's GB2 guard restrict, like the new one would work without having to discard. But outside of that, it's like the original was like it's still good against like Stride decks. We have Jeweled back in the meta. That's a grade 4 deck that you want to play the old one for. So
and also like Jiva become triple drive. So.
True, Jiva as well. Like Prison's also pretty meta right now as well. So overall, there's actually like quite a few decks that are. I think the only decks that will play this new one are the grade 4 decks that couldn't play it before. So that's just kind of it. So honestly, there's not too much to touch upon. I don't know if Jason, you have any big points.
Not really. It's just like the grade like Yugioh and Prism can play this as the so that they also have a way to go through guard restriction, and that's it. That's
basically it. Like there's really not too much to talk about it.
Unless like we are not sure like whether if Whisper one will be like Godobun and they have a crest, and if they're really good, then you might need this at that time. But we don't know anything about them yet, so it's also hard to tell.
True, that's in set 3 as well, huh? I forgot about that.
So if they have the crest, then this might be a one that you want to play. But
true.
If they're not that good, you will also play the O1 anyway, I guess.
So kind of like a nothing burger a little bit, so there's not as much to talk about it. But the Regalis piece, the actual Regalis piece of the set, Radiance Caliburn, it's a very cool name, is a normal order that, again, you can only have one Regalis piece per deck. It's like a spec from Pokemon. And you can only play it once per game, and you choose one of the two effects when you play this card. The first one is Pot of Greed, so it lets you draw 2 cards. And the second one lets you put this into the soul and countercharge 1. So this is by far the most generic effect they could have possibly ever made. But it's like, it's generic. But the immediate question everyone asks is like, is it better than the Chalice? Like, Chalice is an extra Persona ride, which means it's also an extra draw. So it's like, the draw 2 does make it like, there's a chance that you would play it. But we were kind of talking about it with Jason before, and he said like, if this was a grade 2 Regalis piece, that would be insane.
Because especially if you go second on turn 2, then if you can play draw 2 on your turn 2, it changes a lot because you can handle your opponent's grade 3 turn better. And then you might draw into a PG so that you just like you don't get so much damage on your turn 3 as well. But like making it turn 3, like to play it other than a cup like the Chalice, then you have to play this on your first grade 3 turn to make it like the better than the
exactly. Like Chalice is restricted to turn 4 and onwards. So it's like a dead card in hand until then. Sometimes you even like discard it, you know, because you don't want to play it.
But the thing is like, then do you actually the draw 2 makes it so important in your first grade 3 turn? It's also and also you've only played this one in your deck. Like the chances you draw directly into it on your turn 3 is like actually not that high.
Unless you play Lyrical and you just like use Aura to like search it, I guess. But you can also search the the Chalice. So
like you just search the
ladder.
It's
like feels kind of weird because ladder also draws you a card as well. So like Ghost of Soul draws you a card. It's like okay, and then it's like the second effect to countercharge is like that one. I think that's where the Varga players are kind of talking. Where it's like okay, for Varga the countercharge actually kind of matters. But it only really matters from turn 4 or like 5. So it's like turn 3 usually you're not like a CB starved too much. But once you start getting to those like later turns where you are a bit like counterblast gated or your opponent like counterplays, the countercharge can be good. The only problem is that in Varga losing a card, because you play it, it goes to soul, you countercharge 1, it's like okay cool. The Varga doesn't use soul that aggressively, so you don't really need the soul. In decks that do, it could be nice, but honestly I feel like this is like maybe, I guess Dark States doesn't have too much countercharge, so like they only have the cat, so that's like a once per game countercharge. No, you can twice per game countercharge, like, but it's like Branky definitely doesn't really need the countercharger because we have Bubble Mine. Then like Keter, I guess, doesn't really have like the craziest generic. No, now they do. There's the new dog, but that's only for Rezael and Liel, I guess. But I don't know. It feels like this one is like decently good. It's probably good to pick up, but not at a crazy price. It's like we've had Regalis pieces that are like, you must have this. Like Ladder was like, you cannot survive this shit in a meta without Ladder.
Yeah, and then it costs you $50 a piece.
Exactly, like it was insane for a reason.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know. It's like it draws you cards, it countercharges. These are both good things.
Yep.
But as an unsearchable, well, mostly unsearchable, one of that, like some games you won't even see. It's like, you know, it's just gonna be a nice tool to have. So I feel like if you maybe just value that kind of consistency, or if you're like a grade 4 deck that doesn't want to play the Forbidol for any reason, I guess you might like it because it's like but I feel like most grade 4 decks like the Forbidol, so it's like searching out your grade 4 is always good. Outside of Prison, I guess Prison doesn't really want to search their grade 4.
Right.
So maybe in Prison you could see this, but just to draw more cards and like find your pieces. But other than that, I don't really see it in too many other decks, I guess.
I guess it's also, but like the anti-Shinigami one also draws you a card and +5 to Vanguard as well. So the 5 to Vanguard also actually like does something as well.
Yeah.
So like, it goes into Soul as well. So if you don't need the counter charge, like 5k on your first grade 3 turn also changes how your opponents guard them as well. Like, do you want to take more cards from your opponent's hand, or do you want to just draw one more?
Yeah.
Then I probably want the 5k.
Exactly. It gives you the same, like, that one gives you the soul too, whereas this one's like, you draw 2, you don't get the soul. So it's like, it's a bit complicated. So I think my rating on this this Regalis is pretty low compared to the other Regalises. I think even like the promo Regalis from Koro Koro was more interesting. So that was a blitz order too.
But just like grab one just in case before like it goes up. I guess once you have one in stock, so when the timing comes, you really have to play it. So make sure you actually have it in your hand, so you don't have to go out and spend like maybe $40 to buy one.
I hope it doesn't reach that level, but with Vanguard you never know.
It might happen.
With Vanguard you never know.
Right.
So moving on to the other big reveal, of course, is the OTs. So the first is the yellow one, Merzambla. So this one's the regular OTs, 50k shield, 100 million extra power. But the bonus effect for this one is you draw up to 1 card for every 2 of your opponent's circles in total between their rears and guardian circle, and then you retire all your opponent's rear guards and guardians. This is a really good card.
Yes.
Like this OT it doesn't gain crit, it doesn't, recover stuff from drop like the blue OT does, but that extra draw effect basically means if your opponent has an empty board and they don't guard, you draw 3 from it, at 4 because you also have to banish, so you get 4 cards out of it, which is insane. Like having 4 extra cards in Vanguard usually can be game changing. And if let's say if they have a full board and just like 1 open rearguard circle, you still get to draw an extra card, so still like draw 2 from it, and then you wipe out 4 cards. So it's like even if they have a full board of 5, okay, you're not drawing anything, but you're board wiping them. It gets around 5, like it gets around resist. It's the fact that if something can be targeted, he doesn't target. He retires everything. And the best part is like in this card in particular, this OT is really good in decks that have low Vanguard power. So it's like Dolls, for example, usually swing like 21k and that's it. Or like 31k on Persona. So a lot of people can just like, or 13k without boost is like, okay, just drop a 15 for 2 to pass, 25 for 3 to pass or whatever. So it's like you check that, you immediately retire their Guardians. So they didn't PG. Obviously if they PG, then retiring the PG doesn't matter. Because
the effect already activated.
Exactly. It's like, the only way you can nullify a perfect card is if it says nullify the effect. So if it doesn't nullify, it doesn't affect it. So as a result, like against, in decks where the Vanguard gets PG'd a lot, you don't really want to play this. But in decks where it's like you have like 2 card guard restrict, or things like Shiana, or it's like any like Greed on and stuff, where it's like you're forcing 2 card guard all the time. This card is like pretty nasty. Like especially in like anything with guard restrict, it's just very, very annoying. So I think also like Shirono, you could potentially play it too, just because it's like you have, you only usually retire 1 of their cards through Dominate, because it's like you just pop it with the end of battle or like through the Mukuro. But after that, they keep the rest of their field if they didn't retire it themselves. So with this is like if you check it during your Vanguard swing, or when you dominate their Vanguard and check it from their dominated Vanguard's attack, it's like you retire the rear that you dominated, but then you also wiped out the rest of the board. So it's like, I feel like if I'm playing Eva and I'm matching against a Shirnui and they like board wipe me, I'm like, wow, I just lost a lot of resources.
Yeah.
So I feel like this will actually see quite a lot of play. I think this OT is very, very good.
Yeah.
So I think on reveal initially my reaction was like, yeah, seems okay. But then the more you think about it, it's like there's a lot of decks where this is pretty nasty.
Yeah, especially like for some decks that doesn't have effect to retire stuff. Like you once you check this, it's actually like for like if I play Kyo card, I just lose my whole board. It's like okay, it's GG. Like,
yeah.
Even if I don't die via attacks, I just can't do anything next turn.
Yeah, and it's like it's also the fact that if you don't PG the Vanguard and this is checked, like they're retiring your Guardians, so the attack goes through.
Yeah.
They put 100 million on something else.
Yeah.
If you don't have a PG, that attack is going through too.
Yeah.
So I know some people on Twitter were already saying it's like, man, why do these OTs make even more random game states, right? But I mean that's the nature of these cards.
Yeah,
so it's
it's an OT, so like most of the time, if they check OT, no matter which OT it is, you are pretty much
whether it's Blue OT or Eldo Breath or Drag Veda, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I agree. So, but I do think Shirnei might have found its new match because Drag Veda got restricted with that deck, so maybe. But then the other one, which I think is the OT that right now has a bit of a lower rating, but in the future probably is going to become very highly rated, just like the Blue OT was last year, is the Laelia. So this is the purple OT. I love the art of it. It looks like a Kirby villain.
Yeah.
It's like both of these look really good actually. But this one is pretty interesting. Its additional effect lets you choose a card from your damage and add it to your hand, and then choose a card from hand up to 1, so you can choose 0. Call it to rear and give it plus 10k power. So you have to give the plus 10k to the thing you call. You can't like distribute the plus 10k if you don't call anything, but it's a heal. It's like, we talked about this with Jason before we started recording, but it's like if you play blue OT, that's your 9th crit.
Yeah.
If you play purple OT, that's your 5th heal.
Yeah.
Right. So just for that, it's already pretty good.
Yeah.
The only issue is, like in some decks like Rezael, I don't want to check this early.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm building my game plan in a way that I can plus a bunch from like my Salgaons and my grade 2s and stuff. And then I check this on turn 2 and then like go down to 1 and then my opponent just gives me 1 damage and passes and I'm like, well shit. Like, there goes my game plan.
Your whole game plan is ruined.
Yeah. So that's like there's some decks where this is awkward.
Yep.
And I think it's also pretty awkward in decks where it's like you swing with Vanguard when your front row is still standing.
Yeah.
It's like even in like whether it's first or like in Eva, right? You swing with rear, you swing with Eva, and then you call. So your board is like still all standing.
Yeah.
So then you don't have anything to call when you check this.
Yeah.
Or like even in any decks where it's like you swing with rears first, but then attacking with the Vanguard restands them or something.
Yeah.
It's like you're immediately just kind of like, it's not that great.
Yeah, you don't get the extra attack. It's kind of like you wasted the additional effect.
Yeah.
But I think I like the point is like you choose the damage zone. It's just not only heal, but it goes to your hand. So you're plus 1. Like you heal 1 and plus 1 card. So
exactly.
It's actually like consider the advantage you get. It's actually pretty huge.
Yeah, that's true. It's like especially if you damage something important.
Yeah.
It's like actually quite strong.
Yeah.
So if you're playing this OT, you probably think about what you heal normally and what you might keep in the damage, in hopes that maybe you check this and get into your hand. So like you don't want to heal your PGs out, maybe.
Yeah.
You don't want to heal your persona out unless you're like playing Eva. I guess we can put it back.
If you consider like your blue OT, you recycle your PG, right? Usually most of the time. So like it's also blocks 1 attack.
Yeah.
But here like it gives you 1, like it doesn't have the crit, but it gives you 1 more attack and then you heal 1. So like it's kind of like actually like it's do the same thing in a different way. So it also saves you on 1 attack because you take the 1 damage out.
The blue OT parallels are coming up, and that's how you know that this card's going to be very highly rated.
So like the potential is very high, but it really depends on your deck. Whether I think long game deck might want this. So the 1 heal would be huge, and it goes to a hand. You can like heal a PG to a hand as well if you did damage your PG there. Then it's just like you actually can take 2 more swing with that.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like I think. The blue OT is still the most generic good one. It's like extra crit, extra card from drop is always nice.
Yeah, it's like no bad thing from the whole card.
Yeah, exactly. Like the only downside is I guess when you check it you check it on turn 1 and you have like just your first ride cost in the drop or something.
But still, it's like you just extra crit and then you gain 1 card, plus 1 card. It's like
still
it's
good.
Not the end of it. Like it's also still you're still gaining much from it.
Yeah.
It's like you're gaining not the most, but you're still getting more than a usual trigger.
Yeah. So, I think this one has higher potential as well because it activates on-call effects of whatever you call.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, why a lot of the Dual Nation cards say, like, when placed from hand I think they also say during main phase, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's like they have that very big restrictions that they don't activate when you call them in battle phase from this OT in particular.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of cards that do activate, right? Yeah. So it's like that might randomly get you an extra attack. You give plus 10k to the thing you call, but you still have the 100 million from the OT to give to something. So that can be to the thing that you call after that. So it's like, I think the ceiling of this OT in certain decks is way higher than other ones, and even higher than blue OT. But I think the floor of it in some decks is like non-existent, whereas in others it's like pretty good. So I think both OTs are very interesting cards. Like I think it's like kind of just accepting that, you know, I mean, it's been 3 years. OT's been with us for a while.
Yeah.
OT is ready to go to elementary school pretty soon, actually. Just give it a couple more years. He'll be, I think the OT can walk now. It's 3 years old.
Yeah.
So he can probably speak. So, you know, give it a few more years. Once it turns 18, we can put it to jail. We have to wait a little longer.
Right. Or else, like, we just still have to, like, find someone to talk to them.
Yeah.
Consulting with them.
Yeah.
We can't put them to jail yet.
It's 15 more years. 15 more years of OTs, and then we could. Poor Drag Veda. Drag Veda killed someone, and they were like, all right, this 3-year-old, we're gonna have to put him down. Like,
right.
It's just built different. But yeah, I think that's basically it. A lot of the other reveals they've been doing on the weekdays have been just like random commons that gain 5k power, 5k shield. So there's like nothing to talk about. I think we'll break down next week. Will be actually a lot because we also will have Daivanga site to reflect on.
Right.
It'll be, you know, after that has happened. That's usually like the biggest Vanguard event of the year, next to Worlds. So it's going to be a lot to discuss, and also like all the Dimension Police reveals for the Dayusha encounter deck, as well as the new Dragon Empire deck. And pretty curious to see how they'll make that one different from other Dragon Empire decks. You know, because I feel like we cover a lot of different grounds already within Dragon Empire, so I wonder what they can cook. But I guess it's actually a deck from the manga, so if you read Youthquake, you might already know what it does, so I should probably catch up.
Sorry, like, we both didn't read it.
I read most of it. I haven't read the last few chapters, so it's actually very good manga. So do recommend. But anyway, I think unless Jason, you have anything else to add, that's about it for my side.
Yeah, but like just my personal feeling of this duel. Like I would definitely get the light one, or what do they call it? It's a light one, right?
Yeah, yellow OT, light OT.
Yeah, but yellow is kind of confusing if it's referring to like the Caterpillar.
Oh, true. So, I guess light OT.
Like it's definitely a good card to get on the it's already good. Everyone is saying it's good now, but the dark OT, like I'll definitely for me, I actually think this eventually will be a better one than the light one in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's my personal feeling that at first release I also thought blue OT already thought blue is better than red at that time.
Yeah, me too.
That's why I get when this was 400 yen, I buy
blue OT was so cheap.
Yeah, I bought 3 or 4 at that time. And then I see it's okay, I can sell probably 1 or 2 now.
Yeah. So
I'll probably get the same. If it's same of just a couple of hundreds yen, I'll probably get 3 or 4 of the dark one because the potential is really good. And it's kind of one of the kind of effect that I personally really like. Because, you can choose how you want to do it, especially you can see what your damage is and do that. Especially some cards that has on place effect, you can choose that and then place it with on the rear guard as well.
Exactly.
So personally, I like the dark OT a lot.
Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah, I guess.
I like it too. It's it's also the fact that you check it on turn 1, you can it doesn't restrict you to what you can call from your hand.
Yeah.
So it's you just call a grade 3 calls another thing. It's you get such a huge advantage. So I do agree. The potential of the purple OT is pretty huge.
Yeah.
So definitely, I mean, I'm getting a case of this set, so I'm gonna have both.
Yeah,
but
so you don't have to worry.
This is gonna be the last set I buy a case for a while. It's been a bit heavy on the wallet.
we'll see.
Set 3 I definitely won't. Set 3 I really won't. But at least for a little while, we'll see what set 4 looks like for.
What if they have good high variety for your boy?
I'll just buy him. There's no point to get a case then.
Right, that's also right. You just buy 4.
Yeah.
You just use the budget to buy 4 of the high variety.
Yeah, basically. I feel like everything else in the set will be cheap. But anyway, that's be it for our little reveal discussion this week. I've seen you guys enjoy this format quite a bit. And when the reactions are good, especially if we forget to talk about something. Like last week, they looked at like the results from Sapporo and on stream, but we didn't talk about it. So I just like included that part in the video. So if there's anything we missed, that'll be part of the video anyway. And you guys have already seen it. And next week, there'll be a lot to talk about. So look forward to that. And it's going to be like meta breakdown and all the, it's like multiple tournaments happening at Daiwangasai as well. So it's going to be a long one. So look forward to it. But anyway, that's it for us and for me today. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And of course, if you want some bonus content, first-person perspective fights and all that kind of stuff, learn how to get better, you can become a YouTube channel member and get access to all that content as well. But with that, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.